now. I'm Andre. Say your first name and do the same next to you.
I'm Jaleel. Say your first name and do the same.
Hello, I'm Mara.
And I'm Michelle.
Michelle's got a very interesting. First off, welcome back. We hope that you're having a pleasant day. You know, as you enter into, I don't know when you're watching this, so it's very interesting. But if you're watching us live, it's Friday. It's that time. It's ready to get set and to close out a week so that you can begin fresh. So it's a great time to do what we're going to be talking about on this episode, which is
Starting with the end in mind.
whoa, wow. Elaborate on what do you mean by that? I'm going to let Michelle just take the ball and just start running with it. Let's go.
All right. So, the reason we chose this topic is because it made me think of two of our entrepreneurs that have gone through our Sharks at the Beach program. And both of them, after ending our program, realized that within fulfilling their businesses, they realized they had passions to do other things, which God has given you many gifts. So, yes, we want you to go on and live out all of the lovely gifts that God has given you. But in order to do that and to maximize on your profit and your hard work, you need to start with the end in mind. So, you need to build your business so that, let's say, 5-10 years into the business, you're able to sell it at a high profit and go on and do the next thing in life. So we're going to cover what are some of the things that you should be doing in your business to be able to make that decision.
Come on. You know, this kind of reminds me of like you wake up and you get in your car and you start driving, but you don't know where you're going. Now your fuel is going to run out, or your electricity, depending on the car you're driving, is going to run out at some point. But if you don't know where you're going and you keep driving, what's going to happen?
Well, you'll be a very unhappy camper on the side of the road somewhere.
Yes, you will. And I can speak by experience, okay? If you are not making plans. So I started driving this car that requires you to charge, okay? This car turned me into a planner. I kid you not. My
Range anxiety. Range anxiety.
Range, it's a thing. It is an actual thing. And if you don't plan your next day accordingly, it forced me to have to do this because now I started looking at, okay, where am I going? How many miles is it? Where's my current charge level now? And then I'm starting to like, okay, if I have somewhere else to be later in the day, I'm going to charge at a specific spot because now I can go to the Starbucks and work on things while the car charges and then pop back in and then make it to my next location. Because if I don't do those things, I will end up on the side of the road. And the most painful thing that happened to me, okay, with this lovely vehicle, okay, my brother and his wife came to visit our family up here in Washington. It doesn't happen all the time, y'all. He's military, right? Came this way, got Seahawks tickets.
Oh, yeah, next level.
So I'm about to go enjoy the Seahawks game with my brother, his wife.
At least
okay,
you thought.
I thought. I'm driving back from visiting my parents, right? So we're coming back, and the mileage was low, and we're like, oh well, if we just hit this next charging spot in Arlington, we'll make it. And sure enough, like the battery thing was lying. Okay, it was lying because we thought we had 20 miles. The next thing you know, like a mile later, we're at 15. I'm like, then panic starts to set in, and then we stuck in a rock and a hard place because now we're like too far away from the next location.
And then you too far to go back.
And you're too far to go back. So now it's like, well, what are we gonna do? So we have to pull over. Like, okay, well, let's at least get as close to an exit as possible so that a tow truck can come get us. I can't even begin to tell you how many tow trucks we saw drive right past us. And the notification thing, like, it's on the way, and then it would fall off. And then they weren't on the way. So by the time someone came and got us, pulled us up to a station, we charged for as much, and then you can't just charge in 2 minutes and go. No, you got to be there for like half an hour, right?
Right.
So I'm just sorry, I'm sharing my pain. Okay, I'm sharing my pain at this point. This is not what we're here for. This is
why you gotta plan.
But this is why. Okay, so eventually we make it.
man.
We make it to the, and then they scored all these touchdowns. We're walking into the stadium. Yeah, oh my God. I'm telling you. So
Is it moral of the story? You kind of lost your money.
Oh, the moral story is we lost a lot of things. Time. Okay. Money. Joy. All right. Peace. What I gained? Frustration. Anger. Trauma. Okay. Because I did not plan accordingly to what the next day needed from me. The next day required that I go straight. What I should have said, I was coming from Whidbey. I should have went straight to Burlington early in the morning, charged up, drove down, got to my crib, linked up with my brother and his wife so we could all go to the game together in peace. Maybe even catch the shuttle so that way we don't have to deal with Seattle traffic. If I would have been up on my logistics, we could have had the time of our lives. But guess what? I missed half of the game, 3 touchdowns, and a lot of stress and anxiety. So if you're not beginning with the end in mind, you're gonna receive a lot of potholes. You're gonna hit a lot of things. You're gonna end up on the side of the road asking for help.
So that comes to our first point. Don't start driving without a destination.
Yeah.
An exit strategy should form part of your business plan and offer an outline for when, how, and why you might leave the business in the future. So, you think about all these things as part of your business model canvas, but also think about the end. When do you want to be done?
Yeah.
Is it when your kids are all 18 and off to college? If you have kids, is it at a certain age? My brother, he's 21, he's in college, and he told me he's going to retire by 40. I looked at him like, how, sir? But that is clear to him. That was clear to him at 19 years old when he moved out of my mom's house to go to college. And he's been doing that. He's chilling. He's so chilling. And he has so much faith that that is going to be his reality. But his end is clear to him when he's going to be done working and how he's going to do it. And he's doing it. So this, for your business, how long, we have people currently in our Sharks at the Beach program who are baking cakes and other desserts, people who have their own auto shops. So all of these things, at what point are you going to be done baking cakes? At what point are you going to be done fixing people's cars? And what is that one line that you like to use? The one where you're like a crazy person working for yourself.
Like the entrepreneur?
If
An entrepreneur.
About the E-Myth Revisited. What's the quote about a person who works for themselves?
Oh, so an entrepreneur will the entrepreneur is a person that will work 16 hours for themselves to avoid working 8 hours for someone else. That's quite frankly what an entrepreneur is. However, and then you're going to be that crazy entrepreneur, all right? That person that is kind of just like, oh, I have all these ideas, until you slow yourself down and you first decide, what do I want out of life? What do I want out of life? Once you make that decision, you will start to shape your reality and you'll start to respond instead of react. And it's a different type of energy because now you can set your next day, your next week with intention instead of being reactive. When you're reactive to things, you're just like, oh, I hope someone comes and asks for my services. I hope someone buys my product. I hope. And then you're more of the victim instead of the creator. When you know where you want to go, now your week's going to sound like this. Oh, yeah, I'm meeting with this person on Monday. I've got another appointment on this person on Wednesday. I'm going to this event on Friday so I can make these kind of connections so they can help me go here. It's a lot more clear, and it's a lot more exciting, quite frankly. But the reverse of that, what's the reverse? Well, I might do this. I hope to do that. This is what I want to do. How many of y'all know somebody that talks a lot but doesn't do anything? So I kind of want to ask the tenured business people in our group, when y'all have experienced more life than us two, and when we're talking about beginning with the end in mind, did you know exactly how everything, because sometimes people can get caught up in perfectionism. oh, do I need to have the perfect plan and then do everything right, like this way to get there? Or like, how did you start? And then, if your life is different than what you imagined, how did you get there? So for someone that's just starting off now, like, hey, okay, I do want to begin with the end. Do I need to have a perfect plan? Like, and if my plan's not perfect, what do I do? So how did y'all start on your journeys?
Ladies first.
I just keep the mic.
All right. As you were speaking, I was thinking and reflecting, like, Michelle, what you mentioned about your brother and his vision for how his career was going to play out. I was that person. You know, I learned people early on. So knowing that you're going to be dealing with customers and in a customer facing role, it's to your advantage to master building a rapport with people. So I knew I liked to work in the setting one-on-one. So I really honed in on that and tried to master everything having to do with the psychology of working with people. And so I wanted to
Bars.
have
That was fire, actually.
I wanted the dream that I saw in front of me, which may have looked different than other people's dream, but my dream was to simply be the head of my household and not live in fear. So what did I need to do to get there? Like that was the goal, that was the destination. And to me, that looked like having all of my children fairly early. So they could all be 18 and over when I'm 40. And I could have a decent quality of life, right? And this is me as a child planning my life out, you know?
Wow.
You don't really have control, but you do have a choice of what you put your energy into. So I told myself that I wanted to be free, like when I was 40. And then I wanted to retire when I was 50. So I got 5 years. Well, next week I'll be 46. So
Hey!
I got 4 years to
4
go.
years to go. Let's get it.
But when you're talking about deciding your path and where you're going to invest your energy, you have to get really intimate with yourself. You know, are you the person that completes tasks? Are you the person that procrastinates? Like, you have to really work on you. And so, you know, we've all experienced COVID and all the things. And, you know, when I reflect on how my life was, you know, when I was a parent, it was very, very chaotic and all over the place. But I maximized on every interaction. You know, if I'm team mom, I'm talking to the parents, I'm talking to the kids. You know, my goal was to always put other people on when I could. Like I said, this really is a lifestyle for me. And, you know, I've been blessed because other people have invested in me. So throughout my whole career, that has been the focus, is to leave situations better than I found them, you know, and to have an impact. I always say people gonna miss me when I'm gone. Like, that was a real focus of mine. And, you know, I love my life. So it's all about perspective. And so if I'm able to still maintain like this in 4 years, I will be still on that path to living the life that I want to live, because you're only working for your reason why, you know. And we're good.
Yes.
I'm all the way on track, you know, as far as that. I can't predict the future, but I have faith, so I'm Gucci.
Wow.
Come on.
I love
Yeah.
that quote. I can't predict the future, but I have faith. Whoop.
Power.
Love it.
That was power. That was a bunch of gems. That was a bunch of gems.
All right, Andre.
Whoa.
yeah. I mean,
I'm bubbling with potential as a result of that. There were some profound things that were highlighted. One of the things that Mara said that I want to highlight is she said the word rapport, building rapport with people. She talked about that. And I love this acronym that someone broke down for me for rapport, RAPPORT. Really, all people prefer others reflecting themselves. Meaning that when you engage with people and you make it about them and you're a good listener, which means, you know, you rearrange the words and listen, and it's the word silent, which means that we take that time and we make moments someone, I'm not going to say them because, but we were talking to someone recently and they were telling us how one of their family members was like, why does everybody love this family member? And they said, it's not that everybody loves that family member. It's that that family member makes time for everyone when they step into a room at a family gathering. And that's a powerful premise, is that you see people where they're at, you connect. And even when you go with the end in mind of when you're dealing with people, emotional intelligence is highly needed in this time. You don't want to be replaced by AI. You don't want to be replaced by a robot. Then put in the human element of being fully present where you're at. Let people know that you see them and connect with them. You'll be irreplaceable. I remember one time in the barbershop, I'll share personally about some of the things that to answer Jalil's question, but I remember one time sitting in the barbershop and our barber asked, he goes, okay, if this, let's say it's the future and they develop an AI barber and, the barber can cut and all that and knows all your preferences because you put it in the thing. They go, how many of you would come? And people were like, nah, I'm not doing it. It just seemed weird. I said, well, why not? Because they're like, I enjoy the conversation of talking to a person. I don't want to talk to someone that knows my preferences because of my predictive things that I put in, but actually a person. So there's an element, there's something that to make yourself recession proof, to make yourself, you're thinking with the end in mind of how you see people and how you build rapport with them. Also, the answer to your question, Jalil, is that my journey has been to slow down and to figure out what is it that matters to me. And what matters to me is the building up of people. I realize that I've had builders on both sides of my family, my dad's side and my mom's side. And I realized that I said, what is it? There were people that built buildings. There were people that built land. There were people that did things. I said, I want to build people because I realized that that's where my smarts lie, was with people, was drawing the best out of people, helping people get into the place of where they're gifted, helping them to begin to flourish in that, and then helping them believe and get the confidence and the capability, like confidence that came from within, but they got the capability, they get the clarity, and they start to execute at a higher level. So when I think with the end in mind, I'm thinking of the old axiom that number one, scripture says, as Mara was even as a child, that's something because she's a church child, which is amazing. But one of the things is write the vision and make it plain. That's Habakkuk 2:2. We talked about that last week, I believe. But that write the vision and make it plain so that the herald can run with it. Are you clear on where it is that you're going directionally? Have you set and got heavenly revelation? And you may be a person who's watching, you're like, I'm not into the Bible and I'm just about the business. Well, the greatest business book ever written is from the Creator, and the Creator put some very good principles there for us to systematize our life and produce and yield a harvest that is going to be bountiful. So that's my encouragement, is that for myself, whether it had been to connect with people as a coach, whether it been with connecting with people through publishing and giving them resources that have changed their family scope. They say, I use this resource that you made for my family and it's been a blessing to us. This has changed us. This has changed our household. This has changed the direction. This has changed the way that we think. That is golden to me. That's my life, is how can I build people? What the end in mind is that I want to have sown such seeds of favor that my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren can reap the harvest of that there's people that want to do right by them, because there's like way back, that patriarch and that matriarch, they really were about loving on people. They really were about pouring their life out. So we want to do right by you just because of your name. You know what I mean? I love the Dame Dash said, I hustle for my last name, not my first name. That's a powerful premise of I was talking to our superintendent this morning, and he was saying that about putting some things in his family of that, how their last name starts with a G. So they have these things with talking to their children about, are you a good leader? Are you a good this? And because in the end of the day, you're representing God, you're representing this, and you're representing our family last name. So what are you putting in your business that shows that you have an end in mind with the goals, with the culture, with the value system, with the way you do your product, the way you handle your profits, the way you do your interactions with others, the way that your processes are set up, right? What shows that you were deliberate and intentional to think beyond you and to think for the future? I want to be able to walk my children and my children's children into something that shows that I thought about them before they arrived. I don't want it to be chaotic and them to be like, wow, this guy really messed everything up. We was on a good move. And who's this guy 400 years ago? We keep hearing his name. We screwed it up for all of us, right? So you are someone's ancestor. Let that sink in. Don't let that go over your head. You're someone's ancestor. So how do you want to be known?
Thank you to Andre and Mara for sharing those gems.
Gems.
They got a couple more years on Jalil and I, so this is a great space to be in for us.
Just a couple.
We do learn a lot from them. We learn from our entrepreneurs, from our coaches in our programs. So I'll speak for myself. I'm very blessed to be in this space.
Yeah,
I
I'm
always
with you.
feel like
I'm with
I
you on
walk
that.
away from these YouTube lives like, oh, how am I going to go transform my life?
Yeah. Hey, for real. Like, a couple of things that I gleaned from y'all too is the first being, before you take that leap of faith, stop to consider the direction you're jumping. And both of you looked inward before you set your vision outward. Mara, that was super powerful. You identified an emotional goal that you wanted to get to. You wanted to be a leader of your home, and you wanted to not have fear. And so it's like, in your destination, it was like, I want to feel like this. And then you worked backwards into, how can I get myself to feel like that? And then you had a standard by which in all the things you were doing, you would maximize every interaction on your way there. And it's like, sometimes, especially in a lot of the podcast culture of these days, is like, morning routine, wake up at 3 a.m., run for 30 minutes, eat the sun, look at the blue lights, read 37 scriptures and a half, and then you will be successful. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm hearing here is like, this is like, and clarity is power, clarity is kindness, and the simplicity of it is so powerful. You identified the emotional goal, reverse engineered, and then you identified, well, what's my craft, what's my gift, how can I do that? Okay, boom, now you have your craft, now you have your gift, and then your standard of being is, every time I talk to another human being, I'm going to maximize this. I'm going to put somebody on. And you still do that to this day. Shake a hand, meet a friend. That's Mara. All right. She runs in my head all the time now. I'm at a networking event. Shake a hand, meet a friend. I'm like, okay, I better go talk to somebody, at least one person, because that's what Mara does. And so that was just powerful. And I really appreciated that. And then likewise with you, Andre, I mean, you literally just parroted the same thing, but in your own version. You figured out that, okay, and this is what was kind of cool, is in my family, so you're looking at your generational patterns, and you notice, I have builders in my family. And then you were able to identify personal gifts. And you say, okay, I know that I have been gifted, and this is deep work and introspection, really. I am gifted to build people. And then you went from building people to building out, because I didn't sleep on that detail there. You said you're somebody's ancestor. So you're living the story that you want to be told, so that generations down the line, they can be set up because of you. And that's like, the end in mind, he's talking like 400 generations or something. I was like, wait, Jesus, man, okay. Like, this is next level. But this, imagine if y'all, like, if you're going to spend, there was some crazy, anyways, there's tons of movies that come out, and they're always going to get you in the movie theater for at least 2 hours. But imagine if you spent 2 hours watching the movie of your life for the next 20 years. What's the emotional home that you want to be? Do you want to feel freedom? Do you want to feel safety, security, courage? Do you want to feel confident? Well, what are those feelings? And now let's reverse engineer. How can you get yourself to feel those things? Because that's really, at the end of the day, that's what we're really chasing. Ed Milet talks about an emotional home. He had mentioned that in one of his podcasts, and it was like, oh, wow. So the real driver behind whatever you're doing, you could be in the real estate industry, the hair industry, food products, tech, AI, you name it. You're looking at, what are the gifts that God has given you, and what's the emotional home that you want? And then you work backwards on how to get there. So
I was going to say thanks for summing that up, because that is what one of the points is. reverse engineer your success. And this article, is not as insightful as our panel here, but
Don't sleep on the panel, okay?
Yeah, I think like the article doesn't talk about the pieces y'all talked about where you have to look inward. I think that's huge. If you want success outside of your business, and to be impactful, because a business, you are working with a lot of people, your touch points with humans is crazy. And to have a goal to be impactful in other humans' lives through your business, that's incredible. That's awesome. And for that to be your mindset as a business owner. And so one of the things that it does talk about, the reverse engineering your success, it talks about like your team. Who do you hire to be on your team? And so that's just the other piece that I wanted to point out, because if your team does not see that end goal or does not understand it or feel it,
Come on.
you can't travel as far. That when it comes time for that end goal to happen, that exit strategy to occur, and you leave, but the company is still standing, it's not going to stand, is the reality of it.
This is good. I think we should continue part 2 next week. I want to say that I'm reading a book called Life Pass by this lady who made a app called ClassPass. And ultimately, it says the subtitle is Drop Your Limits, Rise to Your Potential, a groundbreaking approach at goal setting. So she has a ton of introspective questions, and she talks about coming from an East Indian heritage of all the standards and all the expectations. You should be married by this. What are you doing? Education's number one, all values that she valued, but she talked about the anxiety it was creating with every interaction, with like loving your parents to life, but every time you're talking to them, they're just, so when did you apply for business school? What's going? So she was just saying like, look, where her real passion lied, it was in dance. And so she was talking about this one question that stood out to me as we're closing out. She says, are you living your plan A or your plan B? If you're living your plan B, that backup plan that's for security, what's stopping you from living that plan A? And I thought that was powerful. She also said this statement. She said, the most important voice in my life, and I'm going to amend what she said, but she said the most important voice in her life was her own voice. And I say the most important voice is God's voice, but I say the second most important voice is your own voice, to be clear on what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're doing it with. You want to be at the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right things. So be encouraged. I think that this is a great opportunity for us to regroup. We're in April now, right? So we're in April. This is still Q1 of this year. Q1's,
Q2 now?
Yeah, we're in Q2 now.
Beginning of Q2.
Oh, yeah. Big quit. Yeah, so we're in the beginning of second quarter. So you want to do well in this.
Yeah.
What Andre said as an application as we're wrapping up this episode, you can start this process by writing down, so get a piece of paper and your 5 W's. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? When do you want to be doing it by? Who, what, when, where do you want to be? And then why? All right. You answer those 5 W's about your future. You can choose your own timeline, 5 years, 10 years, whatever's speaking to your heart right now. You answer those 5 things, you're going to have a lot of clarity. Oh, and how are you going to, well, I don't want to, let's keep W. Let's go who.
Yeah.
Let's go who, not how.
Yeah, there you go.
Shout out to they need to give us something on this point. We talk about that, but you know what?
The reflection happening here right now.
It's happening right now. Shout out. Okay, there's a great book, Who Not How. We talk about it all the time, but you know what? We plug it like every week. But they blessed us. They blessed us because that concept is powerful. So, who do you need to connect with to get there? And check this out, and this is something I'm kind of speaking to my younger self right now. The first iteration of this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a starting point, okay? if you write these things down and you start pursuing those things, you're going to go on this journey of discovery. God's going to show you things, and then you're going to get better at hearing that his voice and your voice. And then as things change, you're only going to refine it. All right. And it's only going to get clear. It's only going to get more pure. You're going to start to align and things are going to flow. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So for all of you that are like, oh, I just need to have the perfect plan. All right. That was me. All right. It's okay. Just write it down. Pursue it one step at a time. Get connected to people that are going to encourage you in your life. And you're just going to find that it's just like the sword gets sharper and sharper and sharper. And you're just going to flow even more. So that's it for me.
Well, we said a lot, and we definitely want to continue next week. But what I want to just add, my little 2 cents before we go, is use your vision. You know, each business should have a vision statement and a mission statement. And if your vision is to create a short-term business enterprise to get you through to the next phase, then that's great. But if your goal is to build a legacy business that your kids can take over or that can last generations, then you really need to start out with that in mind. Your business structure, how you build it, if that's the goal, take that path, okay? It'll be easier for you to just instead of start all over, just start the way you want to finish.
Oh, that's good.
Wow, I love that ending right there. Start the way you want to finish. Sit with that over the weekend and just pondering that. Do some writing, some walking, some spending time with God, thinking about that. Like, there's been so many times where I just had questions about making decisions in life, and if I just spend time in prayer and writing, for me at least, I hear from God. It's like very clear what I'm supposed to do. But E.T. said this, like, why are you waiting for somebody else to give you oil? Like, go get your own oil. Like, you need to spend your time in the scripture. Like, people want to go to church and have the pastor give them oil. Like, no. Like, you need to get your own oil. So do something this weekend where you get your own oil to keep that light burning and keep that momentum going.
Until then, until next time, we have our pitch competition coming up on May 28th. Be there or be square. More details to follow. Look online. Keep on. Do all the YouTube-y stuff. Share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the comments so that the algorithm builds us up. We want as many people to be encouraged as possible. So share it with your friends and your enemies and your frenemies. Let's do all the above. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you next time.